the update me about your situation, that benign, innocent invite that people tend to offer to strangers, to their friends, that innocent or seemingly innocent thing is not as innocent, I'm finding. So I've been on a lot of meetups in my previous engagement with people when I was active on the meetup scene, when I lived in the Baltimore, Maryland, Virginia area. And it was the first time that I'm remembering that someone did this. And at that meetup, the lady was like, "Can I share that? What you just told me? Can I share that?" And at the time, I didn't understand what that type of invitation, what that was about. Of course, I did not grow up in America. But as I engage more with people in the workplace and everything else, I notice a consistent thing that Americans do, and that is they'll say, "Keep me posted. Let me know how that goes." And oftentimes, that is a just regular thing that people say the same way they'll greet you and say, "Hello, how are you?" How are you does not necessarily mean they really want to know how you are and any of the gory details that you're going through in your life. How are you is just American speak for greetings. That's it. That is a type of greetings that Americans do. And hopefully that type of greetings will change if one does not want to know truly how a person is doing. Hopefully we will evolve as Americans and not ask people, "How are you?" Because that question is an invite for them to tell you how they're doing. So I learned quickly that that's something that wasn't welcome. Anyways, my issue, yes, I do take an issue with it because, and I will explain why later on. My issue is that when people say, "Keep me posted, let me know how it goes," I had no idea that by me complying to keep them posted and letting them know how I'm doing, I had no idea that that was interpreted as permission for them to possibly remote view in my life. I had no idea. Remote viewing is something that I have come across, and the first time I heard about it, I was saying to myself, "What the heck?" Of course, it didn't make sense at the time, and it later made sense to me when more when I started to remember and experience more of my spiritual abilities, and definitely the third eye ability helped me to confirm that yes, remote viewing is a thing. Remote viewing is absolutely possible, the exact same way the physical material here that you see me touch is tangibly possible. Remote viewing is possible in that way. So, but at the time when people who were definitely ahead of me on their journey, when they mention things like, "Oh, there are spiritual attacks, there are energetic attacks, and remote viewing," I just thought, okay, this person is definitely on something else, and I would just leave it at that. I didn't think anything negative about those people when they had mentioned such realities that are spiritual attack, remote viewing, and other things that I don't even have words for, but they had words for and they would put into words. When those people mentioned those things to me early on, I just assume they had another religious practice that believed and confirmed what they were telling me, and I just went on living my life. Years later, in this present day and age, yes, I'm going to stare in the camera, so technically I'm looking at your eyes, I guess. Yes, as a result of my third eye confirming to me things that I had thought were not possible, my third eye confirming those things to me through my experience of it, I now understand, oh, yes, remote viewing is a thing. It is absolutely a thing. It is real. So, with that being said, now I I would take it a step further to reevaluate my actions and my condoning of someone to remote view me. Why would I condone someone to remote view me? No one would condone someone to spy on them. No one would condone anyone to check up on them unless you give them your consent. So it later dawned on me that, oh, one can give consent in the past because you were not aware. You were not aware that remote viewing, spiritually, it is a fact. And we have now physical manifestations that we call camera. We can install a camera, install it in front of our house, within our home, around our home, and then travel to a foreign country and still be able to see our home. We can do that. And if there is any temperance or interference by us being able to see our home, who do we reach out to? We reach out to the authorities. We call them and we say, hey, I noticed there's this person walking around my space. They have no right to be there. And please help me. We reach out through to certain people when others violate our areas of safety and we did not give them permission for them to actually be there. We reach out to the various bodies that we know to call and inform them. With spiritual remote viewing, I have no idea who do we call on to report another person and tell them, hey, I do not condone or give this person permission to remote view me. Here in the earth space, we have been giving several resources to call, like I provided in the example. At my home here, first of all, if someone knocks the door, I'm not going to answer because I was not expecting a visitor. I'm not going to answer that door and say, what are you doing here? No, we don't answer the door because the person shouldn't be there. The exact same is true spiritually. And I'm coming to find that out um, in my lived experience here on earth. Like I mentioned, when I interacted with people in the past, they would say, oh, keep me posted how you're doing. I would love to know. And being spiritually unaware, I had keep them up to date on what I was doing. I had informed them in specific details, as you imagine one would do when you're thinking nothing could absolutely go wrong spiritually. And when I say nothing can go wrong spiritually, what that looks like is what I'm finding in my lived experience is that if that person is going through a life event negatively, or if that person feels not satisfied in their life, which is not a negative thing to not feel satisfied in their life. It is not a negative thing to not exist in the positive all the time. When one shares particular intimate detail doesn't have to be the bedroom. When one shares those details with another person, and that person is not in a satisfactory place in their life, and in their memory, as they are just sitting down reflecting on their whatever that they do, when they think about you, and they think about you in a specific way, as in they call up a mental picture of you, they call up the particular details that you give them, they are, in every sense of the word, picking up your phone number and calling you intangibly. They are calling you because they have access to you, and not just you, but your name, how you look. They are calling you. And prior to me understanding anything, I shouldn't even say I understand because I'm still learning. Prior to my third eye opening up in the ways that it did, and when it started doing that years ago, I didn't even go online to research and ask any questions about whatever it could be because I was just deer caught in the headlights. I wouldn't say afraid because I'm not afraid of spirituality. No, thankfully, that's attributed to where I was born. I'm not afraid of that, but I wasn't ready for the responsibility of what it means. So I just decided that I wasn't going to research. So uh, several years ago, when my third eye opened and what I was experiencing, you could describe as my one foot is here on earth and my other foot I could literally feel it somewhere else. And that's how I lived. And I would just wake up, I'm like, I would just pretend like nothing happened and just went on with my day. I ignored it because I'm not interested to know what that responsibility is. And it is a responsibility. So, be that as it is, having ignored that and then still engaging with the human persons, keeping them up to date, as I was ignoring the third eye spiritual happenings around me, I noticed that my ears started ringing. So, the ear ringing part in this present time, I can just tell you verbatim, I experienced something that, oh my goodness. Let me just say this. When you're talking about someone and you're angry, they feel it. When you're talking about someone and you're happy, they feel it. Okay? So that should just tell you, and by goodness, no one should ever think about doing anything. Like, as in, I'm not even going to give an example. There are consequences to this thing. The exact same way here on earth, you are not supposed to drive your car through someone's house. You are not supposed to use your car and intentionally hit another person. You are not supposed to harm another person, harm their physical body or anything like that. You are just not supposed to do that. Whether you are angry or not, it is not an excuse. It is not an excuse. We're not supposed to do that. Maybe there is a law that says do no harm. And it definitely could be why we here on earth have the many rules and regulations that we have to help us calm ourselves and not react in anger. So, as we would follow the earthly rules and the police and federal rules, we do our best to follow it. Some people dance and have their fun with it and hire lawyers to do what they do to protect themselves. Right. You can hire those lawyers here on earth, but you're watching this, and if you think that the spiritual world is non-existent or whatever I'm saying is not true, I don't have any interest to convince a person. So that's that. I'm not interested. But for any individual that feels some iota of truth to what I'm saying additionally is, when you are angry, as you would vent to someone, make sure you tell whatever angry thing you're saying, make sure you say it to their face. You say it to their face because that's just that. Because you would have said it to their face. And years ago, when my ears was ringing and I just did not understand what that meant, I literally didn't understand what it means. And I also did not bother to go online and read. Why didn't I do that? It did not and still hasn't made sense to me ways that I could find explanation to what I am perceiving as very complex phenomenons. Maybe these phenomenons aren't complex, but the way that I experienced it, oftentimes I don't have the exact words to plug in on the internet and search for. Um, what does it mean when you watch the wall move? Yeah, because I've seen that happen. What does it mean when you literally just had a vision of something and then turn on the news and then the news have that exact thing? Like, what type of search result will actually guide me in the ways that I am needing? So I have not bothered, and I still don't bother till this day. I still don't bother. I just don't. So I'm on here as it is specific to giving people permission via keeping them updated. Now, as I sat down and thought about this, because my ear rang in a way after I've talked with someone, my ear rang to the point that it left a physical hurt. It left a physical hurt in my ear. What did that tell me? That told me that whoever that I communicated with, they carry such a freaking heavy energy that my interaction with them, it didn't call for that level of anger. No, it did not warranted that level of anger. But because that person has possibly some unresolved issues that is so deep and in shades of depth that I do not care to elaborate on, they use their they use whatever that anger them in their previous life or their existing situation. And then by interacting with me, what I'm believing to have just been a simple thing, and there they go, they think they're talking behind my back, they think they're venting about me, but I am able to hear their level of anger in the strength that it came through. And the particular situation that I'm recalling, there were several. The particular situation that I'm recalling, I had thought about it and I sat there. I'm like, why is my ear ringing? I just got off of talking with this person. And then I asked myself why that's happening. And my body confirmed to me. First, I mentally thought, is it this person that I just got talking to? And my body confirmed to me. I won't mention to you on here the specific regions of my body that confirmed that. But my body confirmed, yeah, it is that person. And I'm like, what the heck? When your ear is ringing, for those of you that have felt ringing in your ear to the level of you're like, ow, Have you had someone scream, like the person come close to you and scream in your ear? All right, it is at that level of hurt that I'm talking about. So that should tell you something when another person is not in your physical presence and they think they're in their house and they're just talking about you, but you are receiving it. I received it to the level of hurt as if they were right here and screamed in my ear. And right then and there, I decided that I was not going to go forward and do that business thing with the person. I just decided then and there because I'm like, oh my goodness. On the surface, on the surface, they came with a lot of things that I wanted to have in the business arrangement. They presented a professional demeanor. And as the negotiation was happening, again, they presented a professional demeanor. So I thought nothing of it. Hang up the phone, and I notice immediately my ear is ringing to the point that it is freaking hurting. Immediately, I hang up the phone, my ear is ringing. I'm thinking, well, what the heck is happening now? Because these days, when my ear is ringing, I understand, okay, there is a spiritual phenomenon happening, and someone that I just engaged with, or someone that I had engaged with in the past, is talking about me. And what did I say previously? You can call someone's spiritual number if you're happy or if you're sad. So when that particular confirmation happened in real time, I then have started to think deeply when I engage with people in other professional and community scenarios where they just seem pleasant. We all seem pleasant, right? Yes, of course. We all want to seem pleasant. We don't want to show the other person we are angry. We don't want to show the other person that our other face, right? We tried our best to reserve that for people closest to us, and it is absolutely okay for us to show those that are closest to us when we are not so happy because we have that agreement with people in our connected space. And now bring it back to the agreement, giving consent. I started to think more deeply about it. Well, shit. Does that mean then, I was going to say schnazzle, but shit just came out. uh, does that mean then, when someone tells me, well, keep me posted, I would love to know how you're doing. And if I want to follow up with that person and keep them posted, by me complying to their ask, I am giving consent. Say, for example, I went to a fast food place and the waitress there was just rude to me. So I went on to tell my friend, and this friend now, maybe 5 years later, is engaging with a waitress that is being rude to her. That friend is now thinking of me and the scenarios that I had told her. And if I went on to just describe how that waitress was, now that friend that I had told that scenario is thinking of me 5 years later, even though that friend is not in my life, but is thinking of me through that. And when that friend starts to think about me, depending on, hopefully they're not pissed off, because if they are pissed off, I am going to hear it energetically. I will hear it because they are calling up a mental picture of me. They know my name. And more so, they are referencing an emotional uh, uh, memory that's making them connect to me, that's making them call me spiritually. Yeah. And if you have watched some of my previous videos, you would see where I left in the comment and I say things like, I do not consent to anyone tagging me or reaching out to me energetically, emotionally, psychically, in any time, space, dimension, or reality. That's me basically putting up the ADT sign that we tend to put on our yard. When you see that security sign on someone's yard, you can expect that they may have several things that protect their house. They might have a camera, they might have a security system that's connected to the the monitoring company, which is ADT. So when I'm telling you, the viewer, that, hey, do not tag me, do not reach out to me, do not interfere with my beingness because I do not consent. That's what that statement means. I don't consent. I don't consent. Then I still don't consent now. I am, of course, going out of my way to make this recording because when we keep people posted, we probably should be a little bit careful to apply a good level of discretion, and definitely possibly maybe try to leave the emotions out of it. And if that person is an acquaintance in your life, I really don't see any reason to keep them updated with whatever it is that they're asking you. I do believe we need to keep such privilege, because it is a privilege to be able to just share these many details with others. We ought to keep that for individuals who have invested the time to be around. And we ought to also acknowledge and accept that when we think of others, we ought to accept our responsibility that we have when we think of others, and possibly try to reduce any amount of anger that it is there. I'm not going to sit here and elaborate on every and all life scenarios that there are and then provide you um, how to navigate those things. No, the human experience is we are supposed to figure it all out. We are supposed to apply free will and are supposed to possibly protect ourselves first and foremost. And for me, how I'm protecting myself is share but not overshare. And I'm saying this frankly when I'm out there in real life trying to make friends specifically in the area where I live. So that will be a little bit difficult because in order to, we as humans, apparently here in America, people say in order for them to trust you, they want to know certain gory details about you. They need to know what your struggle is. What the frack? Do you know that when you just share all your traumas with someone that you've just met a month, that's not too great? That's not too great at all. That's a lot of spiritual insight that they can call up on about you. That's not nice for your sake. It just isn't. And another way that I'm helping myself, because I have had things come through mentally, people that I did interact with in a professional setting, there has been mental interference that would come up, especially when life got very, very difficult, when life got very confusing and disappointing. Disappointing is the right word. For some reason, when I was going through a disappointing phase, that mental comparison will come up and try to use someone that I interacted with. It would look like the mental stuff would say, oh, see this person? They're going through this fine time. And I worked up the strength and courage to just verbally say out of my mouth, no, I don't want to go there. Or I will work up the mental courage and just, just shrug off. You can shrug things off with your energy spiritually. You can shrug it off. So I noticed that I would do that. And yes, of course, oftentimes it still happens. But now I know that when someone says keep me posted, I'm not going to keep them posted, especially if I behave vulnerably, and if I forgot and became too human with them and just shared because I needed to tell someone. And by me sharing, they're like, oh my God, I see her. I connect with her. I want her to let me know how things are going. And when I get home, I'm like, oh God, I think I told that person way too much. Way too much. So I wouldn't keep them posted because I don't want them to call on me spiritually. I don't want 3 years when we are not in communication for them to call upon me. I just don't want that. So I guess I'm not going to teach another person or say how to. If there's anything that I've said within here you are getting an idea from, that's that. But what I am saying to myself in this recording is that I am being very careful not to give consent to people. And I am also being honest with people when I come into their lives. I will speak spiritually. Like I will tell them, not just, oh, I want good vibes, I don't want bad vibes. When people are saying that, that is a loaded thing. They understand they have received psychic attacks, they have received spiritual attacks, and they are lumping all of that and calling it bad vibes. There are just specific actions that we take with one another when we are not in front of the other person. And that means when you're going through your personal life, that mental thought will come up trying to entice you and compare yourself to another person. That's how it come up sometimes. And it comes up in so many ways. I'm not interested to, further elaborate on because there are specific wizards and shamans and priestesses that have programs where they can teach you in detailed ways than I would care to. I don't care to do that on here because I'm not interested in that financial exchange. Those practitioners have established a lot of security for themselves and their clients. So I'm not interested to teach you because I think sometimes just giving someone half information and giving them information, spiritual information in a haphazard way, and they go and apply it without doing so correctly, they do more harm to themselves than good. So that's why I'm not interested in doing that. So yeah, I am definitely careful not to give consent, and in my in real life interactions, as I am being very vulnerable with people because I have not had human contact for a long time. So as I'm engaging with people, I go overboard, and going overboard sometimes with me, I'm just excited and I'm sharing things about myself with a person. But as I'm doing that, I'm also paying attention to their body communication, like the physical cues that we send to the other person. So I'm checking all of those things. And as their facial expression, their bodily expression would communicate to me how things are, I then rein myself in and then just behave accordingly. And another things that I would do is, let's say right now I'm on the scenes out there making friends on the women friendship apps. As I'm making friends and I come in contact with a particular lady, I'm on a coffee date and we're talking, I would absolutely go ahead and let the person know, absolutely, yeah, I don't go to church per se. I used to in a previous life. But even though I don't go to church, I do believe spiritually. I do believe that yes, there are energetic attacks, there are psychic attacks, and the third eye technology. It is a technology. I do believe that that the third eye technology is real and remote viewing is real. So as far as disclosures go, that is me disclosing to another person. And as far as non disclosures go, I would just do my best, especially as I believe I'm a little bit more spiritually mature than I was 8 years ago. As I'm a little bit more mature spiritually, if I sense that their awareness is not anywhere near mine, then definitely I'm not only protecting myself, but I would be protecting them. And what that means is, I do apply, oh, it is something that I do energetically, and describing it is a little bit difficult. It would feel and look like, oh dear God. See what I mean? It is difficult to explain, but it is an energetic aura of protection. It is not just around myself, but when I have come in contact with people and I know that, oh, based on how this person is speaking, they not only have boundaries, as you would expect boundaries to be, healthy boundaries, and if they don't have healthy boundaries for how they speak, how they behave, or how they are engaging with me, I automatically assume they do not have healthy spiritual boundaries. So by me knowing that, I immediately then put myself in the vibration that you would call positive. That's just something that I do. I put myself in that vibration of positive. I don't close off, I don't shut down, but I immediately then decide that, okay, I will speak with them from that place of respect and care. It's not love. I don't operate from a place of love most of the time with my interaction with people. The foundational principle that I apply is respect and care. Respect primarily and care for myself first and foremost, to shield myself, and then as I would want to, of course, engage with them. They are a human being. I'm here. I want to talk with them. I want to meet with them. I believe I can have a relationship with them, even though they may not be spiritually matured because they haven't developed yet or acknowledged or accepted the reality of that which is. So those are some of the things that I do. And yes, when I do go on my future coffee dates with my friends, that's something that I intend to continuously still do. So that's what I do. I will not give consent. I will still shield and protect and do give verbal disclosures of what I'm about since I'm not Christian. And I will give verbal disclosures because disclosures are important. Disclosures send out the signal to everything that needs to know, here I am. I'm trying my best to do the right thing, whatever that may look like. That would be that.